Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Emilie. I'm gonna just show off her a little bit. I am not a fan of this character. The impact she has on the game is so low, and she does not do enough to really I feel like make her mark on the game at all. Like, she just really doesn't. This character is so low and so not what I'm ever going to run. Alright, simply put, we're gonna look at this character's damage. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're just move on. We're gonna move on. I'm gonna talk about her, and then we're gonna end the video, because I've recorded this video for quite a long time, if I'm being entirely honest. Let's go ahead. Let's start the video off, and we'll go ahead and do this. So let's start this. All right. See what the damage we're looking at. 32, 14, 15, right? We're not getting the, necessarily what we want to see here. 12,000. All right. So we're just going to wait this out. So 25,000 there, 28,000 there, okay. Yeah. When's that big? Yep, that thing. Yeah, okay. All right. That was an awful representation of what she did, because we missed the first, big, thing that comes down and, hits for like 50,000, right? We'll say 50,000, 53,000, 58,000. I've seen it hit 40,000, right? But we're going to say 53,000, whatever. Most important thing is take two of those. You do two of those per rotation, and then you just combine them, and it's 100,000 damage. Now, that is awful. 100,000 damage, and you're doing like 20,000 damage every, maybe this thing says how fast it hits. So I don't know how fast it attacks. I would say it's 2 hits per every 1 second. So, you have what? I don't know, but I'm just going to flat out tell you, it's like 400,000 damage, It's not good. It really isn't. Assuming you get all crits, right? So here's the build, right? This is the build that we're at right now. We have, 2,875 attack. Quite a lot of attack, but that's because we're using Calamity Queller, right? So, cool. She does get up to 3,000 when you have this active, so she does get all of her passive. And, really, if I leveled up my crit rate here, this build would be basically where I would be at, right? I could get her signature weapon. Crit rate is completely fine, right? It's completely fine, right? It's really good to have that crit stat, right? Obviously. I mean, the thing is, Calamity Queller, from what I know, I haven't looked at, the spreadsheets, right? So Calamity Queller here is 7% worse than her, signature. Simple as that. And I just really cannot say that I'm seeing impressive numbers. I think generously, I could say Emilie's doing 500,000 damage per rotation, right? Like, I could see it to be like, oh, if she's doing, 25,000 damage every 1 second, right? Then you do 10 seconds, that's 250,000 damage, and then the entire rotation you're doing the entire time, it starts to add up. If I had a lot better crit rate, which is what I realistically wish I had, if I had a lot better crit rate, I could easily see my rotation getting up to 500,000 damage. Now, I'm going to say something that might upset a lot of you. 500,000 damage is not a lot, and especially it's not a lot when you're restricted to this team and that's all you're doing. It isn't. Flat out, it's just not. Mavwika, C0R1, is coming in, and she is flat out just doing 500,000 with her Q skill. Now, a lot of people can say, oh, well, that's because Mavwika is the most broken support in the game. No, Emilie is better than Mavwika. She's balanced. No. You see, we have said broken character in the game. Therefore, we look at said broken character and we say, oh, they're worse, right? And we can even get away from the, oh, broken character, oh no! Furina, she is a very good option for Kinich, and genuinely is the option that I chose to run over Emilie for a long time. There is one reason why you would want to run Emilie over Kinich for this, basically. Just this in general, there is one reason, and that is the 5th hit. Overall, yeah, thanks, Kinich. Yeah, thanks, buddy. The 5th hit, it's a decent damage increase for Kinich, right? Depending on, what kind of team you're running or how he actually functions, it could be substantial. It could also be 200,000 damage, which, I mean, hey, that technically bumps up Emilie's, damage to, what, 700,000 damage? Sure, that's not bad. That's closer to 1 million. I mean, that is substantial, right? That, 200,000 damage extra added to Emilie is what, like, nearly half of what she's doing right now, and that's just the sad part. That's half of what she's doing right now. But like you can see here, like we are definitely doing, and you also have the Q damage you can talk about. I mean, there's definitely, you know, things I would say that, I mean, we can see here 49,000, you know, and then again. I'm not gonna, you know, do this again. I really am not. I'm not. Yeah. I'm good. I've done this enough. I've made an Emilie video for like an hour now. I keep kind of going a little too hard on her. It's just this character being limited like she is, when we now have a good character. I would say, okay, a lot of people would say, oh, these broken characters are awfully designed. I would say Miss Coffee is probably the best designed character we've had in the game ever. You know, some of you may be insulted by that, but I mean, you know, when we go back to limited supports, I mean, we're looking at Shinha, we're looking at Sinyun, we're looking at, you know, Emilie. And then we get Miss Coffee, and it's like, oh my god, this is a limited support that actually, you know, severely rewards you for being severely limited. Oh my god. You know, Sinyun, I probably shouldn't have said Sinyun when we're talking about limited, but, you know, Miss Coffee is a character who actually makes it feel like, oh, it's worth running freeze. You know what Emilie doesn't do for any pyro character? Make it worth running burn. You know, you can look at Miss Coffee and say, she's too broken. No, you're not supposed to be able to do that. But you can also look at Miss Coffee and be like, oh, yay, finally, freeze is runnable because the reaction's been terrible because it has no multiplicative power towards it. But now we have Miss Coffee, who decreases the res for 55% for Hydro and Cryo, the only two elements that are applying, you know, with freeze. And then it's like, oh my god, freeze is actually runnable, even though it's not necessarily a freeze team, because most of the time you're fighting bosses and you're not freezing at all. But Hydro and Cryo themselves is a good team now, and, you know, the freeze reaction, whatever you want to see it as, is good, you know? That's how you bring characters back. Not, you know, Emilie, you know? This is the problem with Genshin releasing characters that are supposed to buff things that are already good, right? If we look at, you know, Kinich, he was gonna be good without Emilie or not. How do I know that? Because you can just remove Emilie and put Furina on the team, and you'll never notice the difference if you don't know about the 5th hit technique, right? You just won't. You won't notice the difference. You won't. And that's where it lies of like, what is this character's purpose? What is it? What is it? Because I guarantee, or at least, you know, I can very confidently say, they did not plan for Kinich to do the 5th hit. The limitedness of the 5th hit technique for Kinich, they didn't plan for that. They didn't. They did not. There's no way that they sat there testing and planned for Kinich to be able to do 5 hits. I just don't believe it. That would make Kinich one of the most awful characters to play in the game. I really do not think that they meant for him to be able to do 5 hits. And then this character, that's her entire purpose, is to be used with Kinich. So if Kinich was already going to be good when, you know, without Emilie, well then, yeah, why Emilie has to be toned down. Whereas we looked at other characters and it was like, well, you know, Miss Coffee here, she's got to buff all cryo characters. And we looked at that and it was like, she got to do a lot of stuff. Right? Like, simply look at it. That's a bad problem that has to be fixed with a lot of support. And that's what they gave Miss Coffee. She's doing 800 to 1,000,000 damage, healing, and 55% res shred. Emilie here, her res shred comes from an artifact. And then also, you know, she's doing 500,000 damage. That's it. Artifact, that's really not, well, this isn't even the artifact set. This is revered because I wanted to make her damage look better. Yeah, I can't confidently say that Emilie's a weak character. She's not balanced. I've had this conversation in the comments before. She's a weak character. She's not balanced. She isn't. This isn't balanced. This is weak. This is weak. Because if it was balanced, there would be some level of, I'm gonna support pyro characters so I can be a better wide usage support. But I only support Dendro characters if you use Deep Wood on me, and then I'm also only buffing burn if you put Revere on me, and at that point I'm doing my own damage, and my own damage is weak. I'm gonna end it there because I don't want to drag this on, because I do really have a lot of things I could say about Emilie. I just want to keep it direct. I want to keep it as you know, easily to understand as possible. This character doesn't do enough. She's only doing damage, and that's really where she's at. Again, Dendro, Deepwood, you know, you can use that on her. but literally any Mavwika could use that set. You could just use Mavwika on that set. I mean, to be fair, I could have done that, right? I could have put Mavwika on that set for this video, had Emilie have Revere buff and Deepwood set. That wouldn't have been a bad idea, but I don't think that that's worth it, because I think Mavwika's damage, you know, I'm not using an attack percent sans. I mean, I have C2 Mavwika, so I couldn't even look at her damage anyways. But there's two routes to, well, there's not, I wouldn't put Scroll on Mavwika. I would put Deepwood, definitely. Over Scroll, yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.